All right, welcome, folks. Milspec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your Monkey Minute for Sunday, Easter Sunday, 4/17/2022. And without further ado, let's hop over to the board here. Just take a quick look at what's going on around the world. Now, this one just kind of hit the headlines today that I guess Russia is a little bit butthurt level bravo because Israel, in front of the UN General Assembly, took a vote to have Russia suspended from the UN. And so remember, this is going to have some history. And when it comes down to the Gog-Magog war, Russia is going to end up attacking, along with Turkey and Iran and a lot of others, Israel. And so having a little bit of bad blood and history behind that certainly isn't going to help matters. So keep our eye on this one. But so far, they have been voted. It looks like it was a pretty overwhelming vote just looking at this. There's only 2 that voted no, 32 that said yeah, and then 13, which is almost half the field, abstained. So, all right. Now on over here to Israel as we're talking about Easter and Passover. Palestinians and the Israeli police clash at the major holy site. This is up on the Temple Mount. Now, this happened last year as well. You may remember from that, it went into about an 11-day war with Hamas militants in the Gaza Strip. So for today, they're saying over 150 people, more actually Palestinians, were actually injured up here in the middle of these clashes. And so we'll keep our eye on this situation, see if it escalates, but not good. Supposedly, there were some Israelis or some Jews that decided that they were going to go sacrifice a goat up here for Passover, and that kind of got things stimulated. So I believe the Israeli police actually arrested those individuals, went to their house, and actually found a goat in their house, and that they were planning on sacrificing for this Passover. So, all right, craziness. Here we go. Next thing up, this is going to be the Watchers. I just want to point out that more than 300 people have been killed in a catastrophic flood and landslide that hit Durban, South Africa. And so this just happened on April 10th. But you can see the pictures there. It's pretty remarkable. But 300 people. Haven't heard anything about that on the news. Not a surprise. All right. But anyway, just more craziness around the world. Let's get over here. Speaking of what's coming, and this is where we got to start paying close attention, folks, because this is going to impact us. This kind of thing has been happening now for years, okay? But they're saying now that 88% of Texas is in a drought condition, and they believe it could worsen. Now, the interesting thing here is that if you look at this drought monitor, 74% is severe or higher, and 49%, almost 50% is in extreme or exceptional. That means really hard to grow crops, really hard to feed cattle and things of that nature. And it's not good because this doesn't just stop at our border. This rolls down into Mexico, which is an area we get a lot of produce and stuff from as well. So not good news as that continues on. Now, speaking of not good news, I got to share this with you. Grain shippers are complaining about the delays from the railroad agencies. Now, this is over on trains.com, but evidently the grains that they need to feed our cattle that are feeding us are being severely delayed, and they're saying that these things are just sitting. In some cases, they're even being canceled, and it's impacting their ability to feed their cattle and their chickens and everything else. So you got to wonder sometimes, this is intentional. All right. And now if it doesn't get your attention thinking, why would they do that? They're saying it's because they have a shortage of workers. But I will tell you, my insiders, people that actually work for the railroad, told me about this stuff and some of the shenanigans that were going on about 6 months ago. And the fact that they are being denied overtime and a bunch of other different things like that. So, but if that doesn't get your attention, check this one out. This is an emergency alert. This is actually over here from Natural News. That's going to be this is, you can't make this stuff up. On the heels of the cancellation of grain shipments, the CF industry is now warning that fertilizer rail shipments are now being halted during spring planting, the time they need it most. Now, remember, the fertilizer aspect is very key because the fact that they, this ties into Russia and a bunch of other locations where they're not able to get fertilizer out because they are a major provider of fertilizer to the United States, as is Canada. And it's not good. It's driving the costs up, and it's putting our farmers in a very bad situation. So, but this was actually written, I think, by Mike Adams. He's a pretty good dude, and pulled that together over here on Natural News. But there's that. Now, I've already showed you this, and I'm just going to keep showing you until these boats start moving. But this, folks, is the coast of China, and you can see thousands of boats sitting. Nothing is moving still. Okay, this is Shanghai over here. All these things, the reason they're circles is because they're parked. These that are green with a little bit of arrow indicate movement. Doesn't mean they're moving all over the place. Could just be they are trying to reposition because they are anchored. Okay, but you get into all of this as you get in closer. I'll show you just a little bit more detail of that. But you can see it's a lot of boats parked, and if you go down, it doesn't get any better. They're continuing to be parked off the shores. So this is a very bad situation. And the reason it is bad is because we still haven't recovered from the first time they shut down back in 2020 over the pandemic. Now, if you get into this, now I'm going to just show you. This article is actually from July 30th, 2019, pre-pandemic, okay? It says the U.S. will have a hard time not getting these products from China. Now, if you look at, these are 100% source, 75, 50. These are commodities that we are basically buying from China. If you get from 50% all the way up, means we don't source them from anywhere else. It says the U.S. imports at least 95% of these products from China. Okay, and those are the ones here in purple, which were just borderline 100%. Now, the size of the dot, just to give you an idea how much money that's worth, this dot right here, which is relatively a small circle, is worth $2.6 billion. This little tiny pin dot, 75 million. So you get into these are massive. All right, and then you get down into this article a little bit, it kind of talks through some of the stuff, electric blankets, umbrellas, who knew, $119 million. Video game consoles, yep, PlayStations, Xbox, you can forget it. You're not getting any of those anytime soon after this. Plastic flowers, I don't think is a big impact, but maybe it is, I don't know. Cooking appliances, that one's going to get us. Electric toasters, again, plastic flowers. Thermoses, we buy a lot of thermoses and a lot of outdoor umbrellas. But then electronic stuff, right? If you look at some of the things like, for example, the Apple products, the phones, and all of the laptops, they all come out of China. So delays on those are going to be super long. And then baby carriages and strollers. So there is a ton of stuff. Now, these are just, some of many, many, many items. If you look at the auto manufacturing chips, those are some that are definitely going to impact us. We still haven't recovered. They said that typically they had 40 days worth of chips on hand, and that's just your average industry level for auto manufacturers. During all of this, in the past 2 years, they only have 5 days worth, and that has dwindled down to almost zero. And so with this shutdown and shortages coming out of China again, I would imagine we're going to have a negative impact in terms of the delay on this. I'm hearing some crazy numbers out there. For example, if you go look at the Mercedes G model, that vehicle is about $130,000 base model, okay? People are paying $100,000 over MSRP to get that car. That is almost the price of the car. And people are paying that amount of money to get those things. And if they have it, they can get them. I don't know anybody in their right mind is going to go out and pay $230,000 for a vehicle, base model to say the least. But people do stupid things. So anyway, just wanted to put that into perspective. When you look at this, I've heard stories of people paying $10,000, $20,000 over sticker, but it's only going to get worse because the supply is going to dry up on the chips. And so that's not going to help that market or industry at all. So if you're in the market for a car, it's only going to get worse if you're not going now. So anyway, listen, that's going to be our Monkey Minute for this week. Buckle up, folks. I'm telling you, things are about to get jiggy, and you don't want to be a part of it. So make sure you prepare for that for the long haul. That means food, water, things that you need or to survive or to keep your family safe, now is the time to do it. Don't wait till all of this starts to hit and these shortages come, because once that starts to happen, you're probably going to see a lot of unrest, and you're going to see interest rates going high, and the ability to buy those things is going to go away. So it's better to be prepared now and get ahead of this, okay? All right, listen, that's going to be it for Monkey Minute this week. You guys, I hope you had a beautiful Easter, and stay safe out there. Stay frosty. Keep that powder dry. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.